Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am continuing on with these horror movie reviews. And next up, now here I am with a review for Psycho. So this is another horror film that is really like among like some of the most famous horror movies of all time. If you are a fan of horror movies, then chances are you have seen this movie. This movie really is just like it really is just a classic. I mean, this really was like one of the most influential horror movies of all time. Yeah, this movie was released, of course, in 1960, and and just like this movie really was just like influential for like pretty much like a whole bunch of horror movies that have really been released since then. Like this movie was really just like so influential, and like a lot of horror movies that have been made over the years since this film have really used this formula a lot. So really just what can I really say about this movie? Just you all basically do know it. I mean, it really is just the story, of course, Norman Bates. I mean, everybody does know Norman Bates, right? I mean, pretty much like every horror movie fan does know of Norman Bates. Yeah, I mean, Norman Bates really has just become like very infamous among horror movie fans. Of course, like Norman Bates, like just acts just like a normal person, but yeah, we do like learn how just like he is just like a very mentally insane uh, psychopath. Yeah, like I said, what can I really say about this movie? Like everybody knows about it, right? the like Norman Bates really just like he really just when we do first see him in the film, like he really just does act like just like a normal person, but is like a very mysterious with like the way that he is talking to Marion Crane in the film, yeah. And then of course like there's like all these like there's like murders that are going on by like some unknown figure, but then then it is revealed to be Norman Bates at the end of the film, and then we like do learn about like what happened to his supposed mother that he's been talking about throughout this whole movie. It's revealed like what really does happen to her at the end of the film, yeah. So just everybody does know Norman Bates, and and really just this film has really just like spawned like a huge franchise. Like this film did spawn sequels, and it of course also did spawn that the series Bates Motel. Oh yeah, it spawned like sequels. It made there was of course like a shot for shot remake in 1998, which let's not talk about that. Yeah, there was of course the series Bates Motel. There was the film Hitchcock from 2012. So this film really just really did like spawn like a huge franchise following the film. And the film really is just, of course, a classic. Like Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates, like he just knocks it out of the park. And then, of course, like Alfred Hitchcock as the director, he did phenomenal at directing this film. And just this film really just has like a lot of really like memorable lines and scenes and all that stuff. And of course, like the moment from this movie that everyone remembers is, of course, the shower scene. Like the shower scene really is like really probably the most well-known scene in all of horror films. Probably like the most iconic scene in all of horror movies. Like, even if you haven't seen this movie before, then you do probably know of the shower scene in this movie. Like the shower scene really is just it really is just like really it just like really does what make this film really is most known for, and and it really is iconic. Yeah, and of course, the shower scene. It is it is like a very brutal scene when you just it's the stabbing in the shower when Marion Crane is just stabbed to death in the shower. Yeah, and the thing that I really do think really just kind of like make it even more brutal is the fact that we don't actually ever see like any of the stabbing actually on screen. Like we don't ever actually see the knife actually uh, stabbing her straight on. Like we do like see it from the stabber's point of view, when he's like when they're like doing that stuff, and then we do like see the knife like kind of like going around Marion as she's screaming, yeah, but we don't ever actually see the knife actually like stabbing her straight on. Like all we really do see is like it pans down to her feet, and you do see the blood like falling down and going down the drain and stuff. So yeah, so I do think that, and in a sense that we don't ever actually see the stabbing straight on, and it just like shows the blood dripping down to her feet. Like I do think that that does kind of like make it sort of like a more like a brutal in a sense. Like just the fact that like that really is the case a lot in horror films. Like even when you don't really like actually like see them like getting killed like straight on like when you don't see it, it kind of like make it even more chilling. So yeah. Oh yeah, so I really do think that the fact that we don't even like actually like see the stabbing straight on, that does kind of like make it more brutal. Yeah. So yeah, so just yeah, I mean, it does really have like one of the most iconic scenes in all of horror movies. So yeah, I mean, so are you really like gonna really say that the film really is not a classic? So yeah, so Psycho really is just like a classic, and it is just like one of the most like influential horror films of all time. So yeah, so what can I really say? Like the film really is just a classic. So yeah, so I would probably give this film 3.75 stars out of 4. All right, so yeah, so there's really not really much I can say about it because yeah, pretty much like all you really do know the film if you're watching this review. Yeah, so yeah, so I don't think I really do need to say anything else. So I'll just talk about the premise of the film now. All right. So yeah, so as the film opens up, it shows that like there's a real estate secretary named Marion Crane that's like has the inability to marry her boyfriend Sam Loomis. And no, this is not Doctor Loomis from Halloween. Yeah, I found that kind of interesting that the boyfriend is named Sam Loomis, like Doctor Loomis in Halloween. Yeah, yeah. So, but this is a different one. Yeah, Halloween wasn't made till like 18 years later. Yeah. Yeah. Then as Marion is working there at a uh, at the bank, there are these people that are trying to deposit $40,000 to her. Yeah, but then Marion, Marion ends up she ends up stealing the money and just sets off to Sam's home in Fairvale, California. Yeah, yeah. Then as she's driving, like it shows that there are some suspicions by a highway patrol officer, and then even as a Marion trades her car en route, the car dealer also had suspicions of her as well. Yeah, yeah. Then that night, Marion then ended up just stopping for the night at the Bates Motel. Oh yeah, yeah. Then the proprietor, Norman Bates, then descended to register Marion, and it showed that like Norman lived in a large house that's kind of like overlooking the motel. Yeah. Then that night, Norman sat down to dinner with Marion. Yeah. 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 Then as Norman like returned to his home, like Marion overheard uh Norman like arguing with his mother about like Marion's presence and everything. And then as Norman returned with a meal for Marion, and like he was just discussing like his hobby of being a taxidermist with uh, Marion, and also talking about like how his mother was ill and how people do have like what he refers to as a private trap they want to escape. Yeah, and we're just talking about like how his mother had changed and all this stuff, and yeah, we were just like, of course, like had the famous line, "We all go a little mad sometimes." Yeah, and yeah, and you just saw like how he was talking, like you could tell like there was like something like very mysterious that was going on with him. Yeah. And yeah, then as they were talking, then Marion then decided that she would drive back home to Phoenix in the morning and return the money she stole. Yeah. Then that night it showed like how as Marion like was settling down for the night, like Norman was like looking at her through a hole in the wall, showing like her undressing and stuff. And then as Marion then went to shower, then then just showed like this shadowy figure appearing in a dress and stabbing her. Yeah, and like I said, like you don't actually like see any stabbing on the screen. Yeah, and of course it also does have like that famous music, din 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 dun 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 dun. Yeah, of course, like if you know this film, you do know that music. Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, you don't actually see like the stabbing like straightforward. All it does show is like it pins down to her feet, and you do see the blood just dripping down. Yeah. And funnily enough, like the blood that was actually used in the scene was actually chocolate syrup. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting they used that, and yeah, the reason that they used that is because, of course, like this film is in black and white, and apparently, like the chocolate syrup showed best on the black and white film. Yeah, then the mysterious figure then just ended up leaving, and then you just like Marion then just ended up like, just like collapsing, and the shower curtain ended up falling down with her, and then you just like showed like you saw like you saw her feet with the blood like continuing to just like run down the drain. Then it just like panned like from her eye like panned out, and you just like saw like her lifeless body just laying there. Yeah. Then eventually Norman then like came upon the scene. Then he just like cleaned up like all the blood, and then like just took Marion's body along with her belongings and the hidden cash, and then just stuffed it all in her car, and then just ended up like taking it to a swamp and sinking it in like a bog or something. Yeah. Yeah. Then I cut to a week later, showing how Marion's sister Lila arrived in Fairville and was just like discussing the theft with Sam, and was like wanting to know where Marion was, but Sam like knew nothing about it either. And so then a private investigator named Arbogast then ended up arriving and was saying that he was hired to retrieve the money. Then as he was investigating, he then like stopped at Bates Motel and questioned Norman, and Norman then was just like explaining like the situation, how like he doesn't know Marion and she never was at his hotel. But yeah, his story wasn't adding up, and was he was giving like inconsistent answers, and then like that like rose some suspicions from Arbogast. Yeah. Then as he was like examining some more stuff, and he like noticed like Marion's handwriting on the registry form, or then he discovered that Marion was in fact at the hotel. Yeah. And then Arbogast then like wanted to speak to Norman's mother, but Norman refused it. Yeah. Then as Sam and Lila were updated about Marianne from Arbogast, then he eventually then entered the Bates home to try to find Norman's mother, but then that shadowy figure appeared again, and then stabbed Arbogast, killing him. Yeah. Then when Sam and Lila then like didn't hear back from Arbogast, and he didn't arrive back, then they then had suspicions about something going wrong, and then they then visited the motel, and then Sam then like noticed a figure in the house that he assumed was Norman's mother, and then as Sam and Lila then alerted the local sheriff about it, the sheriff then was just like telling them how Norman's mother had actually died in a murder suicide 10 years earlier, but and was just like trying to suggest that Arbogast was lying to pursue Marion and the money. Yeah. Then then eventually Sam and Lila then drove back to the hotel, and then as they were starting to like talk to Norman, they then decided to search the motel and the house. Yeah. Then then discovered the room that Marion was staying in. And then they then like found some stuff that did like show that Marion was there. Yeah. So then Lila then like snuck into the Bates house to search for more, while Sam was distracting Norman. Yeah. But then eventually Norman then like caught on to what was going on, and then he knocked Sam out. Then he then followed Lila into the house. But then as uh Norman entered the house, then Lila attempted to hide in the fruit cellar of the house, and down in the cellar she then discovered uh Norman's mother's body that was just like totally mummified and decayed. Yeah. Then Norman then appeared wearing the clothes and the wig, revealing that Norman was in fact the mysterious figure. Yeah, but then before he could actually stab Lila, Sam then appeared and then subdued Norman. Then Norman was then arrested, and then and it cut to the police station. And then a psychiatrist was then just explaining the whole situation about Norman to Sam, Lila, and everyone else, also explaining that Norman had actually killed his mother and her lover 10 years earlier out of jealousy. And then like Norman was just ridden with so much guilt that he decided to mummify his mother's body and was treating it as if she was still alive. And he just like made his mother has like an alternate personality. He he yeah, then it showed and he explained how and Norman is attracted to a woman, like his mother takes over, and apparently before killing Marion and Arbogast, two other young women had also been murdered by Norman as well. Yeah. Then he just concluded that his mother apparently submerged Norman's personality. Yeah. Then just showed Norman then just sitting in a jail cell. Then you just hear the voice of Norman's mother in his head, just saying how the murders were all his doing and all this stuff. And then you just see Norman giving a very evil smile. And the last shot of the movie, as it says the end, is you see like a Marion's car being retrieved from the swamp and being pulled out of the bog. Yeah, and that's how the movie ended. So yeah, so of course this movie, like I said, it has been very influential over the years. Like a lot of horror films that have been made since then have really used this formula, and yeah, you do have just a phenomenal performance from Anthony Perkins, and it's just a very mysterious film, and of course that iconic shower scene. So yeah, so I mean it has just a whole bunch of great elements. So yeah, so it really is hard to really not to give a recommendation to this film. Like this film really is just an absolute classic. Like chances are you have seen this movie if you are a horror fan, but by some chance you haven't seen this movie, definitely give it a watch. It is just among the best horror films of all time. So like I said, I give this film 3.75 stars out of 4. Just yeah, it is just an absolute classic. All right. So yeah. So I guess that's all I really have to say about it. All right. So this does it for my review of Psycho. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. And so yeah. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.